welcome back to the Sandy Hahn podcast, episode 17. Excited about this one for four of my oldest friends, my Bay Village brethren, class of 1985. Hell, fucking yeah. So, there's no real agenda. We're going to just let it roll. Again, I'm going to say a few things. I'm going to introduce everyone. In studios, Adam Walker. Then there's Mark Lowry in Columbus, Mark Creighton in San Francisco, and John Nauman in Florida. So,
I'm going to interrupt, Sandy, since you haven't started the podcasts recently. Hello, motherfuckers!
yeah. Fuck you. Wait a minute. Did you hear that, John?
Hey, I hope F-bombs are allowed on this thing.
Fuck yes. They
All
are,
right.
They are encouraged, of course.
Just
Now-
making sure, that's all.
But we know that Mark Lowry is a teacher, and he has to be cognizant. And Mark Creighton is a very important business person who doesn't want to be embarrassed. I know they won't be, but me and John and Adam, we're gonna say whatever we want. Again, we're gonna do our best not to get anyone in trouble. Again, we did a lot of shit growing up, but it was never horrible. No murder, no rape, just a lot of drinking and a lot of weed. Of course, that was only me. Mark Lowry never did it, and Mark Creighton never did it, and I mean that sincerely. I don't know about John and Adam, but I do it every day, so I don't care, and I'm retired, so not like I gave a shit even back then when I grew up. But so just sincerely, I did. Those guys never did that, never touched it. So good for them that they had the wherewithal to not do it. But boy, you miss some good time. So where do we want to start? Adam, since you're here,
Yeah, I'll
what's
start. I had just kind of thought that maybe I would, when I first was thinking about this, that I would come up with the first time that I met you, and maybe a funny story after that. And I couldn't really come up with the exact time, the exact day or place that I first met you.
I forget what grade it was. It like third grade?
Possibly. We lived in the same neighborhood, but I went to private school. And so, I didn't go to Glenview with any of, or obviously Westerly or Normandy with anybody. And so I was just thinking it had to be sports related, right? It had to be like maybe the local football game with the Dana Millers or the Marshalls or,
Oh yeah, there was constantly
there's constantly some athletic
football games in
something going on.
somebody's front yard. I forget. That was all the time.
Yeah.
What year did you? So it was. The other guys. I went to Normandy with them. Then second grade or third grade, I moved to Linford, right near Adam, and went to Glenview, and there was a lot of sports. There's one story I remember specifically because I still think about him today. Thought about him yesterday, and it has to do with bagels and cream cheese because I had never really had one, and I walked up to his house and we were walking somewhere, and his mom had made him a bagel with there was so much cream. There was more cream cheese than I think there was bagel, and he's eating. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he told me he's bacon cream cheese, and I was like, you want a bite? I said, sure. And from then on, when I make a bagel, there is so much cream cheese on it.
Oh, yeah.
It literally, I take a bite, it's on my nose and my face, and same thing when I make it for my kids and my wife. It's like, whoa, slow down there. So.
Right.
That's what you get with private school. You get bagels with cream cheese.
Yeah. There you go. What private school did you go to?
It was St. Paul Lutheran on Detroit Road in Westlake, right by Cahoon Nursery, if you remember, for the out-of-towners.
I don't.
Or anyone that's...
Is this still there?
Yeah, it's still there. There was 100 kids there, K through 8, and now it's probably double or triple the size. Yeah. Who knew? So I started then going to middle school, went to Bay Middle, after that. And that's obviously when
But
I met Mark and John. Well, probably still met those guys somewhere on the basketball court or a football game or something along those lines.
yeah, there was.
before that.
I believe it was me, Lau, Marky, and John. I went to Normandy Elementary since kindergarten. Correct?
Correct. Well, John, you were at you were at St. Raphael's till like what, 5th grade?
Was he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at Normandy till 3rd grade and then moved over and went to Westerly 4th and 5th.
Oh, yeah, that's right. When you moved to
And Sand, I remember when I met you, our dads were coaching a Cub Scout softball team.
yes,
And so in Bay Village, the order went, this is before travel teams, it went Cub Scout softball or Kiwanis softball, Little League, and then into the baseball leagues. And we were too young to play, but our dads managed the Indians was the name of the team. They had blue with white font T-shirts, and Tim and Steve and my brother Rich played on that team. And Sandy and I used to play with like trucks and stuff in the dirt behind the backstop at the field over behind the old middle school or up at Dover. And whenever they would play, me and Sandy would hang out because we were, 7 years old, 6 years old, 5 years old, maybe at the time when those guys were playing softball. But our dads actually coached together.
didn't they play in the Bay Men's Club?
They may have played together.
Team
I
as
know my
well.
dad played for years and years.
Yeah, so did my dad. I think they did.
Yeah.
I'm going to some of those games. That was
Yeah, it's crazy.
Always
Like
fun.
we've all known each other since Little League or before. Time wise. I mean, I met Mark in kindergarten. Sandy I would have met just before kindergarten. I mean, we've all kind of been together for a really long time, which I think is awesome.
yeah, and I think Mark was kindergarten as well for me.
Yeah, because Tim and your brother Tim and my brother Kip were in Cub Scouts together. And so
That's correct.
we met, while they were doing that, they were in the same pack. And then that one trip that we went up to your family's cabin, I think it was in New York.
Oh,
We went up there,
Pennsylvania,
I was there.
or Pennsylvania.
Western
Yeah.
PA, I think. Yeah, they had a
My
little.
dad always remembers that trip because he shared a single bed with Grover Creighton. The two of them, they slept together. My dad still talks about it.
The highlight of his life.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wow, that's funny. I forgot about that place. It wasn't much there. It was like a little trailer on the side of a hill, but good memories,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I remember we were in kindergarten. I think the older kids had like Playboy that they were passing around and looking at after the dads went to sleep, and we were like, hey, what is that?
What's happening?
What's
Wow.
that tingling feeling I'm getting?
Yeah, you guys, Sandy and Lau, you guys started off at Normandy, and then you guys were, like the White Jeffersons. You moved on up and moved to the west side of town.
Yeah,
Struck it rich.
I went to Lindford. Lau went to what was it?
Walmart.
Walmart. That's right.
And then Johnny moved in.
Johnny was on Russell.
He moved or came over to Normandy in 5th grade.
Right.
And you would swing by, your mom would come by. I guess that was like middle school that started happening when you guys would pick me up in the morning to drive to school, John.
And
Every
she'd
day.
have the heat on at 100. 100 degrees. Because it was so cold out, and my mom hated the cold so bad. And it was so funny because no fail, Marky would always crack the window. And it was hysterical.
Was that because I farted or because it was hot?
Tell me she didn't have that car at 100 degrees.
It was toasty every
Oh
time
my
I got it.
God, man.
It kept
And
her
just
Pepsi
that
warm.
that short ride from our house to Bay Middle School, I felt like I had third-degree burns, man. It was brutal
So-
how hot it was.
Who was driving? Was it my mom?
No, this is Mrs. Nauman
Oh,
when
okay.
she would pick me up for
Okay.
take me and John to Bay Middle.
Ah, gotcha.
Um,
All right.
unless we stop at you would demand that we stop at Lawson's so you could go in there and buy candy. I say buy candy.
Yeah.
Somehow not as much was
Yeah.
actually paid for.
Got the old 5-finger discount.
Yeah, exactly. Being a big guy, you would like stand here and I would stand and block. And I'm like, what are you doing? He tuck his shirt in and all of a sudden stuff would go in. He's like, okay, we're good. I was like, what is going on?
That's funny stuff.
I mean, I met Sandy. I think it was sixth grade or seventh grade, Sandy,
Yes.
and you had a sleepover. And again, like Clay just said, you guys moved up to the west side. You guys were high end. I don't know. Hey, Mark, did you have central heat and air in your house? I don't remember.
Well, we had heat, we had air,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
called
Yeah,
the,
but you
we
didn't
didn't
have
have air.
central
It
air,
was called
did
the
you?
window. No, no, you open the window.
We didn't either. And I'll tell you what, to this day, I had that sleepover and I went to your house and I slept over. I had never slept in central air conditioning ever. To this day, it's the greatest sleep I've ever had in my life.
They used to keep their
was
basement.
Awesome.
Their basement was like an icebox down there. When you go down
Oh,
there,
yeah.
you're like, oh.
I went home and I told my parents, hey, you got to step your game up. This is ridiculous. You got box fans and they got AC.
There's this new thing called air conditioning.
How'd
I
that
used
go
to have
over,
my
John?
dog sleeping in front of the fan, trying to move him out of the way to get some air.
Johnny was trying to file
His
adoption
house, and
papers.
It's like it's beautiful.
It's funny he said he was filing adoptive papers for my house, but I lived at his house the one summer. I don't know, between 7th and 8th grade or 6th, 7th. We were just best buds always together. And literally his T. McCoy, his uncle, literally I'd walk in the house and like, don't you have a home? This old grumpy fat guy who just couldn't stand me. Every time he saw me, just stop eating our food. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, man, you were shooting pool. He goes, I'm going to take you on the road. I mean, we're like 14 years old. And we wanted to
Yeah,
take you on the road and play pool.
My only saving grace is I was could be a pool shark for him. Other than that, he couldn't stand the sight
then
of me.
after you had stayed over like 3 nights in a row, you stayed over during the summer one time, and he goes, like you just said, he's like, don't you have a home? I'm like, yeah, he's got a home and it's got AC. I don't know what the hell we're doing here.
Johnny, I remember sitting at your kitchen table, you made eggs and you were jiggling the eggs on the plate and you're like, look, it's like T's stomach. And then T right then walks in without a shirt on and starts yelling at us for something and we can't stop laughing because you're still shaking the eggs. It's just like the dumbest things we remember. I mean, I'm 55 and I remember that very clearly. And the stuff I've forgotten that's really important, but I still remember shaking those eggs and T just comes in and he's just like, what are you doing in here? And you're just,
Yeah.
Not to mention he was probably smoking at the table.
yeah,
My dad was probably smoking at the table.
yeah.
Yeah, we were all health nuts back then.
And Johnny was just brutal to T. Absolutely
Johnny was brutal.
brutal. I mean, he was brutal to us and to John, but I didn't give a shit. Like, shut up, fat man, or whatever. I don't think he said it too loud wherever in here, but he said it. I could hear it. I left. So it was good times.
I tell people, when talking to people and asking them, about their kids, and if ask them how old they are, and if they say, oh, my kids are, they just turned 13. I always tell the story of how, because Sandy's birthday is in October, Lau's October, Johnny, yours is December, Joel's is December, mine's January, Tim Lumsden's January. That when we all turn 13, your mom just goes, get out. She goes, I don't want to see you in my house until you turn 14 or 15. And I was like, why? I was like, we're teenagers. And she goes, I know teenagers. Get out of my house.
Well, funny things that we took her up on that because we left the house a lot. Usually in the middle of the night, we'd do a sleepover. Not all these guys. Okay, some would behave, but me and a few others would leave the house for John's house. We'd
But
leave at 3 a.m.
Say you were sleeping at John's house. John said he's sleeping at Sandy's house.
Oh, we did that a lot, and then
we just
we'd just go out and wander around Bay Village and sneak into girls' houses. We had keys to their houses. We'd sneak in the back door and go in the basement. A lot of we won't name names, but it happened a lot.
Let's not mention any names.
No, won't happen. But there were
Let's keep some things private here, bro.
it was more than a few. So, but it was.
Well,
it was,
I
it
mean,
was
Johnny's
innocent.
house was always the end destination, right? Because Mrs. Nauman worked the 11 to 7 shift, and Mr. Nauman usually had a few Wiedemans and was asleep. And so it was like the perfect storm. Wherever you started the night, you ended at Johnny's house, and then it was whatever you want. You just had to be out or good to go by the time his mom got home at 7.
Except for that one time when we were, my house was picked quite often because my mom would always make pancakes in the morning, and everybody's like, "Wow, we get free breakfast at the Creighton." But we came back too early, and we couldn't go to my house. It was still like 5 or it was probably like 6. So we went to Perkins. You remember that time? We went to Perkins, and they weren't even open. We sat on the curb, and we waited for them to open. We went in. And John Chet used to work in the kitchen back there. And so we're sitting at the table, and the waitress comes over, and she asks what we wanted. And somebody asked for a cheeseburger. And they went in the back, and we just hear Johnny Chet go, I'm not making those assholes a cheeseburger at 7 in the morning.
Right, we'd order all different sorts of stuff, knowing that Johnny had to cook it and pull all that stuff out of the fridge.
And then
I'm
Johnny
surprised there was any
Nauman,
money.
you used to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm surprised anyone had money.
We didn't. This was the thing. We would order all this stuff on one check, and then Johnny would order like coffee and toast on the other one. Then he would take the other check and crumple it up.
The dine and dash.
And then we'd pay for the coffee and the toast.
That's good
So
stuff.
Adam, hey, have you told? Should we tell the "Where's My Son" story?
Oh, geez. Yes, go ahead. I was thinking about that one the other day, and I
So-
wasn't sure if I had all the details well, but
So,
that was one that
Adam-
was in my head. Yeah, go ahead, John.
I was there.
All right, so Adam and Sandy are sleeping at the house, and I think we had a couple cocktails. Well, beers.
No.
I think it was Genesee Cream Ale at the time. It was
God.
our drink of choice.
That would sound correct.
That's what we could afford.
And Adam and I sneak out. Sandy's out cold at my house. He's out cold. And we're walking down the street. And we'll leave names out of it, but I'm sure we all know where we're headed. And all of a sudden, this Mercedes pulls up. This little, I think it was a 350 SL, the little 2-door one. I looked at Adam. I go, "Oh shit, that's Mrs. Hahn." She pulls up next to us. We're walking down the middle of the street. 2:33
I think
o'clock.
I think it was Osborne. You're walking in the middle of Osborne
Brackenway.
at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, Brackenway, right
Okay.
off Osborne, yeah.
All of a sudden, her window goes down, And she goes, "Where's my son?" I go, "He's at my house sleeping." "Well, where are you guys going?" being, being, being quick on the feet, I go, "Well, we got basketball practice tomorrow. And we got to go to Adams and pick up his basketball." his
You were
basketball
quick.
You
on
were
that
smooth,
one. You
Johnny.
were real
Smooth
on that
operator.
one.
So
Where's my son?
she goes, "Well, you tell Sam." Well, we were right
What's it,
down the
Alex?
street from your house, so we walk to your house. We have to sneak into your house because we're not supposed to be out. I have to get on the phone again, long before cell phones. Call my house, wake my father up, tell him to go downstairs, wake Sandy up, get him on the phone so he can talk to his mother.
I'm sure.
Holy shit, brother.
I
That
was-
was
I don't know.
I was sleeping in your living room when all that happened. I didn't go out. I stayed there. I was there that night.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
what's that?
I was there that night. I remember.
Oh, were you there?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, look, when my mom worked, everybody slept over, so I don't
Right.
remember all the players in the game. But holy Christ, I just remember looking at Adam, going, "How the hell are we going to pull this one off?"
You came through,
Adam
brother.
just looks at me, and goes, "I don't know, man. I don't know. Now we got to go into my house. I'm going to get in trouble."
Yeah, I don't think that ended well for me. Like a lot of nights and stupid shenanigans I did, but boy, there's such good memories. Wish we could share
A lot of wild memories.
a lot. Well, we share them between ourselves, but some of these aren't for public consumption. So
That's the beauty of growing up the way we did. I mean, Bay Village has its drawbacks for sure, but to grow up in a bubble like that, and here we are so many years later, and we still have, like, as you guys are telling stories, I could complete a lot of the sentences. Like, those things haven't gone away. And it's just a special place. I don't know how many friends you have, maybe you met later in life or in college, or adult friends, that you have now, that they don't have that common experience. Like, I don't even talk to people from high school, or what, you still travel with friends from high school, or like, yeah, we've just managed to be able to keep the ship afloat, and I'm proud of that.
yeah,
And I think a lot of that goes back to just friendships growing up, and people having so much in common, and common memories like this. I don't know. I think it's a special time. And the fact that Sand wants to do this podcast and just talk about old times, I think is awesome.
yeah. It's been special, the relationship we've all had for so long, and we've always stayed in touch. Not all the time, but talking, texting here and there, and then what was even more special was when I got sick, and you guys were always there, calling, texting, just checking in, and trying to make me laugh, which I love. So that was really, really, really special, and still is. And we're gonna do more of these because one's not enough. We're gonna have to do a recurring show, maybe every month or so when everyone's available, and maybe we'll have some other guests.
Until your viewership
Drop
drops
in.
off because of us on being on so many times. Get those guys off. No,
I think you should do
wanna-
one with the people that were at the houses we were going to.
I just want to say, Sam, I'm honored to be on this podcast, also, and as you say, it's not always easy to stay in touch with 50 friends and let them know what's going on in your life, and this is therapeutic for me too, to hear how you're doing each week, and I know you don't want to talk to me every single day. and,
I'm okay.
and tell
I'm
me
okay
how,
with that.
And tell me how you're feeling, good or bad. And I think it's a great way to stay connected to a lot of people without having, to exert.
Yeah, it really has been unbelievably therapeutic, and just not only comments I get from people on a weekly basis, and it's really just keeps growing and growing because I'm on this MSA Facebook page where I'm posting comments and videos to try and help people. I want to give back as much as I can because I am feeling better. It's still a struggle every morning. It's unbelievably difficult, but once I get going, I want to get out. And again, the responses I'm getting from people when my trainer shared the videos of me golfing last week, it was amazing. The responses from people like, how'd you not fall over? And I almost did several times, but I didn't. But I didn't think I was going to ever golf again. And to go out and do that, now I'm anxious to do more. And I want to share more. I'm going to put those videos on my website just so other people can look at them, to inspire them to not give up and just keep trying.
Absolutely, Sam, man. What you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're handling this is truly an inspiration. And you talk about us being around to make you laugh. I think the biggest thing was making sure that you got to that place where you were making us laugh again, because that's what you do. I mean, that is you. You enjoy life. You share these types of stories and experiences. And if at any time that there was a funny story that was taking place, you were usually involved because you made it so. And to Lau's point, us growing up together, starting at such young ages, we were just intertwined in each other's lives, each other's families, and grew up as a family, as kind of brothers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did push it a little too hard sometimes to try and get laughs, and it didn't always work, but
that was you too.
Hey,
Yeah.
even Chris Farley didn't get a laugh every single time, so you're forgiven.
yeah, I still try and do that. But like you said, there was, for a few years, when I got this diagnosis, I wasn't laughing, and I didn't want to even talk to people. And it was just so brutal. It's hard to describe. I've tried to do that on other podcasts because it was just awful, and I thought I was convinced I was dying. And I'm not. I'm living, and I'm happy. I'm excited to keep going. I'm not stopping. And I want to keep inspiring others, and anyone else who wants to ever talk, email, please do. I've tried to reach out to a number of people, MSA community, and say, just because they're always asking questions, and I have a lot of answers because I went through everything they went through. And they're, what about this symptom? What about that? What about this? Nausea, the sickness, dizzy. I have had it all. Every single, I almost want to answer their questions. Every time who's asking, is this MSA? The answer is yes. It fucks up your whole body, everything. Nothing was working right. And it's starting to work a lot better. It's still a struggle, but I'm going to keep going. And it's nice to know that I have you guys, as well as a lot of other important people, to support me. And really can't thank you enough.
Well, I will say,
Absolutely,
Sam,
brother.
in all the years I've known you, anytime I've ever gone out with you, you've made the night better. It's a better night if you're there. There are times I'll be heading somewhere and Adam will be like, hey, FYI, Sandy's here. And I think, oh my God, I'm about to have a great night. I better bring my A game, but I'm also going to have a great night. And the laughter and just sitting there and knowing I'm going to laugh my ass off the entire night because Sandy's here. You've made every night I've ever seen you better. And the reason why I bring that up now is since you were diagnosed and all the struggles that you've been going through, every time I've seen you, you still do that. And we've exchanged some serious texts about your condition and had serious conversations about it. And what I do like about the podcast is you're still Sandy. You talk about all the serious things and the struggles, and I think that's really important. And like Mark said, I like hearing that because I want to know how you're doing. I think there are a lot of people out there that want to hear everything that you're doing. But the few time, when I'm in Cleveland and we can hook up for a few hours to give you a compliment, the standard thing is I'll text Mark or text Adam if he's not there and just say, he's still Sandy. I mean, you're you and you always will be. And I love that we still see that, even though we know, what a battle you're going through.
Yeah.
so-
Well, thanks for saying it. It was just very hard at times, and again, there was a lot of weeks and months where I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't leave the house. But then whenever I did feel a little better, I had to get out and be with people, and to try and make them laugh. That makes me feel better, even though again it doesn't always work. But a lot of times I'm out with people and I'm saying stupid shit, and I'm laughing, and they're looking at me like, why are you laughing at your own jokes? Like, it's just fucking funny, Come on. And they're like, yeah, no, it's not. Nobody else is laughing. Well, fuck them. I don't care. That was just,
They just don't know you like we do.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. But you can usually get them turned around, certain people. And if I don't, then I just piss them off more because I'll make fun of them until they leave. But that's how I roll.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to say that, what Lau said, anytime you were involved, I did out you and Adam at some point. I came home, I think, from Adam's house, and it was discovered that I may have imbibed a few Genesee cream ales that night, and my mom made an issue of it, and she was like, "Who were you with?" And I was like, "Oh, Sandy and Adam." And so whenever something was kind of going down, she's like, "Were you with Sandy and Adam?" I was like, "Oh, no, of course not."
Yeah.
Right. We're the first ones now she thinks of when something's bad, huh?
Yes.
You know what? It's fun. I get that a lot. A lot of people use me as a crutch. Oh, it was Sandy. Oh, stay away from him. He's trouble. But it was always fun. That's for sure. I try. That's all I want to do, and I'm going to keep doing it, even if I piss people off. But
Yeah.
Keep dialing it up to 11, my man.
yes, goes to 11. So one of the other things I wanted to bring up, because me and Lau were talking, just some other cool stories, because they're leaving for their baseball trip. Friday.
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
So I think I tell people about this a lot because it's just so damn cool. So you guys just talk about who's involved. It's been 30 years, right?
Yeah. We started in 1990. Me and Mark Lowry are the originals who have done every trip that we've gone on. It just started off as they were tearing down old Comiskey Park. We saw a night game there, a day game at Wrigley, and drove back. That was the first trip in 1990. And now, 32
Done
years
32.
later.
This will be 32.
You know what?
32 years later.
I think I was living in Chicago then.
Yeah.
I was, because you remember you came visit. I don't know if I went. I did go to Comiskey. I don't know if I went with you, but then I remember meeting you guys after at a bar and we just got nuts.
I think we all stayed at Mary Beth's apartment or something. We didn't have money for a hotel. I think we crashed at Mary
Over on West Deming Street.
That's right. Exactly. Oh boy, there's stories about that place.
Oh, yeah.
Yikes. So and you've been they've been to every single.
Every major league stadium. Mark, what's the count? 52?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like 52 stadiums. Obviously, they tear one down and build a new one, so there's two.
And you've been to ones out of the country.
We've been to Alaska. We've been to San Juan.
Yeah. I mean,
College baseball, right?
Montreal
College
before the
World Series.
Expos left.
Montreal.
Toronto. We went down to Puerto Rico because they played 20. The Rangers played, or the Expos played 20 games in San Juan one year, so we went down for that. We've ventured out everywhere, and Chris Pagan went on that first one with us, and my old roommate from college, Steve. And then Mark started going, and we've had people one of the great things about the trip is it's that 1 week a year where we kind of stop what we're doing and spend that together. But the people that have joined us along the way, I mean, if we're in San Diego and we have friends and Nancy Schlinker and Jeannie Potter want to go to Jeannie Simon want to go to a game, they can, or people that we hook up with down in Houston or wherever we are. And so we all are bringing our friends into this and our old friends together too. And so, it's that to me is the best part. And we don't even watch the games barely. We find standing room areas, we talk and we laugh and we catch up and we have some beers. And at the end of the game, it's like, hey, who had 3 RBIs tonight? And be like, I don't know. Like we barely even watched it. So at the beginning, we wanted to find the best seats. It was all about the seats. And then it just, as it evolved, it was just, well, we're just going to hang out and talk anyway. So who cares if we're standing in an outfield section? And so that's kind of how we treat it, and it's about just hanging out and being together.
Yeah, I started going in 1995 when I moved to New York. You guys came out, and then we went up to Boston. We connected with Tim Rogers, who we grew up with. But hearing your original stories of when you guys were like sleeping in the vans and on people's floors, I was like, I'm not about that. So I waited till we got to that point where, yeah, exactly. Class the trip up a little bit. Sleep in a hotel on a bed for a change. Long drive. Can't we take they have these things called planes. They go places. In between the days where there wasn't a game, and Pagan elevated this too, but, go to like a museum. He went to like the JFK Museum, or, we were down in New Orleans and went to a bunch of different things. And so a little bit of culture that I like to bring to the table.
Yeah, there was that one early trip. We were in Philadelphia. I think there were 5 of us. And that's before you had hotel reservations and things. So we get this one room in Philadelphia, and all they have left is one bed in one little tiny room, and there's 5 of us. And we didn't know what to do. And someone's like, oh, I know. Let's pull the mattress off the box spring and put it on the floor. Then we have 2 queen-size beds. Right. And we all thought, well, that's a great idea. And so we pull the mattress off. And when we pull the mattress off to put it on the floor, there's a bunch of porn mags that someone had stuffed in between. Not one of us, whoever had stayed there before, or housekeeping, maybe that was their stash, in between the mattress and the box spring. And you would think we would have been grossed out by that and found another room.
No.
Those magazines made the rest of the trip. those were in the van the whole rest of the ride.
Those are very useful.
Sweet.
I'm just a boy from the suburbs. I never thought this would happen to me.
So what was your favorite stadium?
Adam?
Oh, well, it's always the old school ones, Wrigley and Fenway. But my favorite of the new ones is actually Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is a fantastic
That's a fantastic
stadium.
ballpark.
For anyone in Cleveland,
I've been to that one.
Take a 1-tank trip and go to Pittsburgh. It's a great city, and 2, the stadium is phenomenal. You get the river views, and it's really cool.
I agree. I've been there. It's great.
Did you guys like Wrigley?
Yeah, Wrigley and Fenway, I think, are the best 2, the oldest 2, and they're classic. Right. And as Adam said, of the new ones, I always put San Francisco just ahead of Pittsburgh. But the 2 of them, I think, of the new ones are still the best. And Progressive Field, I still think like a top 5 stadium. It's great. It's been able to, now that it's 28 years old, it's been able to change and evolve a little bit. And I still love that. But right, San Francisco and Pittsburgh for me too.
I can't believe it's been 28 years that I know the first game at Progressive Field, Lau and Adam were going to it. And I was working.
Yeah, I took my son. My youngest. When he turned 18, I took him to Wrigley. The crazy thing about Wrigley is when the game's not over, most places they hustle you out of there. But if the Cubs win, it's a party afterwards.
Absolutely.
It's not like, hey, everybody, okay, start moving out. It's like everybody's dancing, everybody's hanging out, drinking.
Wrigley's my favorite.
It was a blast.
Yeah, there's so much more entertainment going around outside of Wrigley Field than going on inside. There's bands, people dancing, like you said, Johnny. It's nuts. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
Wrigley. If you look at the like out at the bleachers on a nice day at Wrigley, I looked at it and I was like, it's a beach party, and there's a baseball game that just happens to be going on because people are like hitting the beach
Yeah.
balls up in the air, and people are out in the sun and drinking and just having a good time.
Yeah,
It
man.
is
When
a
they
great
raise that
stadium.
W flag, man, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is fun.
My
Fenway, old school ballpark, but Fenway is like one of the most uncomfortable places to watch a game or go to.
Yeah.
It is just the seats are very. Seeing as a big guy, they're very tight. You may be sitting on the like third base line, and you're looking out into center field, and you get a neck ache trying to look back at home.
Right.
But as an old school ballpark, it is thumbs up.
Right. If my camera was home plate, you could be sitting like this, and your seats are facing this way, and you got to do this the whole time. It's pretty rough, but it's old. What can you do?
Yeah.
And my son lives in Chicago in Lincoln Park, and he's nothing better than Wrigley a day game at Wrigley, and he's sending me pictures and like, oh, I'm going to be here a lot, and then he had these pictures of what they call a cup snake. You guys
Yeah.
heard?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. And he said,
Yeah.
"What the hell is that?" They drink their cups of beer and they just start forming together, and it's just like 30-foot long cup snake winding through the crowd. I'm like, that is fucking awesome.
Why didn't we
Yeah.
think of that?
I know. Damn it.
We built pyramids.
I think we were more interested in the next full beer that was in another cup. Why waste holding an empty cup? Get rid of that one. Get one that has beer in it.
Very, very true. So, we're at a little over 40 minutes now, and this went by in no time at all. So, we're definitely going to do this again. But anyone else has anything else they want to say before we sign off? Have at it.
Johnny, you have anything? I know you've been having problems hearing
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm,
You got
I'm
anything?
still having a hard time hearing, but one thing I do want to say to Sandy is your podcast, brother, is very inspirational. I don't miss an episode of it. I usually watch it every Friday. If it drops late, I'll catch it on Saturday. But you're doing a great job, man. You're doing a lot of great things for a lot of people that I don't think you understand. How important this is for more people than just yourself. You just keep up the good work, brother. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Johnny. It means a lot. And again, that's the main reason I'm doing it now, to help others because of the response I'm getting. I mean, I started doing it initially just for myself because it was therapeutic to just talk about it. But then the responses I got were so amazing. It's like, yes, I want to help. I want to give back. And again, selfishly, it does make me feel real good. Quite frankly, even on the way here, I had a slow morning. I wasn't feeling great. And now I feel awesome. So I think we're going to go somewhere and have a few drinks.
All right.
There you go. Amen to what Johnny said. And when you give, it comes back, tenfold. So keep doing what you're doing. This 40 minutes, like you said, went by very fast. There's plenty more stuff to talk about. Your brother Steve's bachelor party, wrestling in this front yard afterwards, syrup stories.
Yeah.
Baldwin Wallace.
Oh, my God.
Plenty of stuff.
Ooh, those are bad.
I was telling Sandy in the car that,
I was bad.
right, I told Sandy in the car, like, we're going to be 40 minutes in. It'll be like, we haven't hit 1974 yet.
Yeah. Oh, well, for the next one, maybe I'm going to start to put together a list. Marky just railed off 5 stores. I'm like, ooh, oh, no, oh, God, ooh, that was bad. And all of those, I almost got arrested. But I evaded it. I did get arrested a few times, but Boy, those are some good stories I'd forgotten about. I'm gonna start writing some of these down, and have you guys write them down too? And we'll filter them because there's some that should not be shared, but there's parts of some that I think could be. And again, I don't give a shit, but I know you guys have reputations.
Can I have the honors then of ending the show here?
Absolutely.
All right.
One more. Boom. Thank you, my brothers from Bay Village, class of 85.
Love you, brother.
Love you
Love you,
too.
man.
Love all you
All right,
guys.
Love
Love
you
you.
guys.
All right, take care. Thanks, Steve.
Take care.
Thanks. See ya.